Because the state knows, the capitalist class knows that the most militant fighters are those who have the most to gain, and those who suffer the most repression and oppression. And those are black, indigenous, Latino, Arab, Asian people in this country. So what if Ramarley Graham had a little bit of weed on him? So what? But let's look at the economic indicators in the city of New York for black people in particular, especially people his age. Nationally, but also in New York City. Because nationally, the unemployment rate for people 19 to 24 is 41%. And that is the official unemployment rate. But if you look at the employment ratio of black men, it's 52.9%. That is those who are employed. So you know it's much higher than that. At a time when the education system in this country which has been crumbling for decades because of racism inherent in the society and the defunding of the inner city areas, has failed. It is not the teachers, it's the system itself, and it's the lack of funding. They put the blame on the teachers so they can bust the unions and so they can privatize the whole thing and destroy universal public education for all people in this country. But it's the system itself. So you have an education system that's unequal, and you have no prospects for employment, and without a job, you can't survive in this system because the bills don't stop. The landlord doesn't say, oh, you lost your job, don't worry about rent this month or the next month. When you get a job, then you come see me. They will throw you out on the streets along with all of your possessions. Whether you are home or not, you could be out looking for a job, they'll throw all your shit outside. And they'll watch people who have nothing go through it all. You can't go to a grocery store and say, I don't have any money. Can I take a few items to feed me and my family? They will call the police on you. You can't survive. And so how do you survive in a society that leaves you nothing or no other avenues to turn to? The best way that you can. But then they criminalize you for it. And the real criminals who are down on Wall Street, who get away with murder, who have a system that will wage war and drop bombs and murder thousands of people, and the politicians who wield the state live to ripe old ages, die of natural causes, live in huge homes, and some of them have libraries named after them. They will never see the inside of a jail, ever. But you have a young black man who had his whole life in front of him, murdered, supposedly for a little bit of weed. And the real criminals walk free and enjoy their lives. That's a sick society. That's an antisocial society. That's a society that has outused its usefulness. That's a society that should be overturned. And we should usher in something better where people aren't criminalized and where people are giving the basic necessities of life and where they take part in them and they aren't feel alienated from the way they create these things, but they have ownership in them and stake in ownership in the society itself. That's what we want to see. And this murder and the murders of other hundreds, thousands of people, innocent people, millions around the world in this country, and the beatings of them, the dignified way in which we are treated, cry and scream out for something better. And so on this day, in remembrance of that brother and of Jatik Reed and all the innocents who have been killed or who are locked down in cages and who spend the rest of their lives, and I'm glad that Mamiya's out of that hole, but he should be free and walking the streets with the rest of us. In memory of them, let's work harder and overturn this brutal system and put the real criminals in jail.